Communication is not just an art, it is a science, but it's a science no one has sequenced until now. Our words are the most powerful technology we have. Communicology is this study of how we create and use messages to affect our social environment. There's been an explosion of insights from the behavioral sciences, cognitive sciences, or neurosciences. Where we are moving next is that research from the physical and natural sciences are rewriting our understanding of physiology and how the body processes information. Communication is a decision-making process. We don't tend to think of it that way, but we're deciding to keep listening. We're deciding if we're going to interrupt. We're deciding if we're going to tune out. We're deciding if we don't care. And we don't do those things consciously. We do them all non-consciously. And so much communication, because it's not aware of its relationship with the non-conscious mind, unintentionally offends it. And when you unintentionally offend the non-conscious mind with communication, you trigger confusion, backfire, things we don't want. It's estimated that we have 70,000 thoughts a day. About 35,000 decisions are made per day. And then we see somewhere between 7,000 to 50,000 marketing messages a day, depending on where we live. I'm tired enough from just that. Okay, I don't know about you. That's enough happening in my head. But then on top of that, we consume, this is the average American, 5 times more information per day than our counterparts did 50 years ago. Do you know that 500 years ago, we never died from stress? But that's a thing now. Our stress is so high because we have cortisol too high, stress too high. We cannot survive this. So what do we do? I think the ethical challenge we all face, and what is the core goal of Civil Influence Institute, is how can we all shift and evolve our communication with what we now know. Our goal is to affect change in one another and in ourselves from a very positive base.
In a world with so much mis and disinformation and polarization, weaponization of language, really is important that we tune in and be super intentional, responsible, not repeating anything that isn't the core reality we want to be understood.
Fear is being made that base to sell everything from printers to hotel rooms.
We are seeing declines in civil discourse because we can't make sense of things.
How do you restore trust in people who have stopped tuning in because they don't believe that there's anything worthy of trust anymore? How do we reach those people? If communication were a chemical, the chemical base of your message, is it something positive? Is it something opportunistic? Or is it something where it's fear? But we're here to reach people in what the NIH calls maximum potency communication. And maximum potency is not fear anymore. Every word that we exchange with one another changes us inside at a physiological, neurological level in terms of the awareness that we have, or the emotional state, the way that it is interfacing with everything within us. That makes communication quite a profound responsibility. I'm not just randomly having a conversation with you, I'm really changing you. I want to affect that kind of change in people. I want my words and my work to be so effective that I can say to you, 8% more people went to college. Kids are in college because we auto-filled a certain part of their form because we understood nudge and the impact of choice.
So we have a phenomenal opportunity. We have never in the history of humanity been able to access so many clues in the sciences and use them to tune communication for harmony, to create harmonic resonance. What happens if you define everyone you're speaking to as your ally?
Do I want to be a puppet master of manipulation with my communication skills, or do I want to know how to influence people civilly to change?
There's a difference between the outcomes you get when you electrocute people with a few known things from the sciences versus when you use the science to create harmonious communication that is in attunement with your audience, where you respect them and a relationship ensues.
We are not thinking machines that feel. We are feeling machines that think. The brain is not first. So how do we help people in their experiences of feeling? And I'm here to say the majority of language and what we've all been tuned and trained on is how we orient around pain and fear and urgency and scarcity and some of these things that really drop us down into a lower frequency.
Why do we communicate? We communicate to create understanding, to create comprehension. So the person receiving the message is going like this instead of going like this, right? And yet our definition at a very fundamental level, we're not even thinking or oriented truly around communication to create comprehension and understanding.
In communication, we are here to educate, not manipulate. And there is a very fine line, but the differences are very abundantly clear. Has anyone heard of thick versus thin evaluative language? That's one of the things we'll teach you of how you tune your evaluative language to stay in what cognitive linguistics calls the thick realm. And that facilitates communication and relationship as opposed to more thin language.
How do we make it authentic? By these standards. When you go home tonight, I want you to turn on the news. I want you to listen to the radio. I want you to plug into some kind of external source. And just like I did around the walls here of this one's fear, this one's fun, this one's emotion, try to categorize tonight some of the messages you see that you can plug into, and what are they? And how many of them are fear? When you work with communication, public relations, marketing, advertising, this whole universe, and you're doing it from the perception and the grounding of knowing that the ultimate reason we are here is to positively, ethically influence behavior and change behavior, the way you do everything shifts.
Words create worlds. So I just want to invite you, please come inside the communication matrix with me. It's beautiful, and it has answers to help us all in more profound ways than we could ever understand.